Hey folks, how's everybody doing? Hope you're having a great day wherever you're at on this beautiful planet that we call the Earth. It is a beautiful sunny day here in the Philippines. Man, we've had some beautiful days after maybe a couple weeks of rain. Of course, the rain kind of washed things away, clean things up, cool things down. Nice cool breeze coming through. But we are experiencing some beautiful sunshine. And me and my crew were planning a camping trip for this weekend. Probably deploying out on Saturday, possibly even Friday. I got something to do tomorrow, but on Friday we'll be free. So hopefully the weather holds up. I got bad luck a lot of times, so probably the minute that we decide to step off on a camping trip, it's going to go back to monsoon rains, as we are in the rainy season here in the Philippines. So, you've probably seen that movie Castaway with Tom Hanks. Great movie. I love watching that movie every now and then. Just, beautiful scenery. It's got a great storyline, and who the hell wouldn't want to live on a little tropical island, have the island all to themselves? And, if you haven't seen the movie, stop the video now, because obviously I'm going to talk about some spoilers, but, who the hell these days has not seen Castaway with Tom Hanks? Great fucking movie. So anyhow, when you're watching that movie, you're like, what kind of items would I wish I had in my pocket? And I guess what kind of items did Tom Hanks wish he had in his pocket when that plane went down and he got washed up on that beach? And folks, I don't watch a lot of these survival shows. I'm always joking about Bear Grylls. Bear Grylls teaching survival stuff, and then you hear these stories that some woman's minivan broke down, and within 3 hours she was drinking her own piss because she thinks she's dehydrated and gonna die. I think most of these survival shows they're just horse shit. They're entertainment. It's good entertainment. It's good entertainment. Now, when you look at the actual survival scenarios where people have been in those situations and what they did, well, that's a case study. And, I like watching those type shows, but, Bear Grylls, teaching people to drink their own piss and stuff, that's not for me. And I think it gives people the wrong idea. If you're in a survival situation, the last thing you need to do is drink your own piss and rappel down a fucking cliff, with a 200-foot rope when you never rappelled before. You see where I'm getting at? So again, good entertainment. I'm not saying it doesn't have some good things to teach, but most of the time it's unnecessary. And it's just giving people the wrong idea when their minivan breaks down for 3 hours on the side of the road. Anyhow, moving forward. Back to the Castaway movie. A great movie. I also like to watch that show alone. Now, I haven't seen all the episodes, all the seasons. I did watch the season with, season 3. I watched all of that. And then on reruns, I watched another season. I probably need to sit down and watch them all, because I really like that show. And I'm going to tell you this. Well, I've said it before. Technically, if they don't quit, the fattest person that goes on there should win. Okay? If they're, psychologically sound, the fattest person that goes on there should win, because they're carrying the most food stores and they've got an advantage from day one. Skinny people, it's going to be hard to win. You know what I mean? I'm not saying they can't and they don't and they haven't, but theoretically, if you're 400 pounds and you go on the show alone and just don't do anything, you're going to win. That's just the way it is. That's science. So, damn, I get off track. So anyhow, on the show alone, they get to take, 10 items? 10 items with them into the woods. Pretty much everybody takes what? They take a sleeping bag, a saw, an axe, a knife, some fishing line, hooks. It's pretty much the same thing. There's a few things that they deviate from. To go out, live in the woods for the longest, and beat out all the peers. Oh, I'm gonna tell you guys this: if they would never let me on the show alone, because if I went on the show alone, you might as well just give up from day one, because it's like throwing a rabbit in a briar patch. I'm not leaving until I get that money. That's the way it is, and I'd have a good time doing it. So when I looked at the movie Castaway, I'm like, what would I like to have in my pocket if I was Tom Hanks, went down on the plane crash, get washed up on this beach, and I just came up with a list of 10 things that I could actually have in my pocket. So I'm going to go through them, and most people will probably disagree with me, but I've lived in the tropics for a decade, Southeast Asia, and I've actually went through a lot of these things that I'm going to talk about, and these are the items that I would take just based on personal experience living in the tropics. Now, this is not going to apply if we're on Vancouver Island or the Arctic, okay? Maybe you missed the title or the intro to this video. I'm talking about Castaway on a tropical island. That would indicate the tropics, the temperature is hot, I'm not worried about getting cold and freezing myself at night. So I'm sure we're going to get some comments down there from the keyboard warriors that watch 1.2% of the video. So be it. But anyhow, we're talking about a tropical climate. Okay, so and basically I put everything in this plastic bag here. So I'm like, well, should I count the plastic bag as an item? Nah, it's the container. So I say 10 items, but it's how you count the shit, If you take 25 fish hooks, it's at 25 items. No, it's counted as one item. Okay, so I've already done a video, and I'll just kind of interject that onto the screen here. And I'm going to refer to that video so I get them in order. Alright, so the first thing is a Leatherman tool. Alright, now that's what a lot of people take, on that alone show. But the reasons for me taking the Leatherman tool, and I'll even back it up to say that I would just at least have a pair of needle nose pliers. Now maybe old Tom Hanks, I don't know, he's working for FedEx, so he probably didn't have to go through a typical security screening. But if he did, TSA probably wouldn't let him take the Leatherman. Maybe they would let him take a small pair of needle nose pliers. I don't know, because I've only flown in America 2-3 times, 4 times in the past decade. I don't know what they allow now, but I would at least want a pair of needle nose pliers, if not a small Leatherman tool. Obviously, number one, it has the knife, but that's not really my concern. I want it for the pliers. Why do I want it for the pliers? Dentistry, self-dentistry. Okay, on Castaway, old Tom Hanks had a jacked up tooth. His grill was all screwed up, causing him pain on a daily basis. And folks, in any type of survival situation, and it also applies to emergency medicine, right? Do no harm. So if you find yourself in a survival situation and you're not injured, you're good to go. You're good to go from the start. You have an advantage from the start. If you're injured, that takes you down several levels. Okay, not to saying that you're not going to overcome, but if you're not injured, I mean, for me, you're golden. You're going to make it. One way or the other, you're going to make it. If you're not injured and you injure yourself, that's a problem. That's why I say don't drink your own piss and don't rappel down a fucking cliff when you have no idea how to rappel nor a reason to rappel. Okay? Or a reason to cross a raging fucking river, with a rope that you made out of 550 cord or, 2 vines tied together. So it's not necessary. If you're not injured, don't get injured. If you are injured, you need a way to mitigate that, because Tom Hanks, he's walking around every day in pain. You can't think about nothing. I mean, imagine when you got a toothache. What's the first thing you do in the West? You go to the dentist. You get it taken care of. So I would want the needle nose pliers. So if I had a tooth that was bothering me to the point that I couldn't function on a daily basis, that thing's coming out. That's just the way it is. You don't know how long. Tom Hanks didn't know how long he's going to be marooned on this beautiful tropical island. He could have been there for 10 years. You think that tooth is going to get any better? I mean, eventually it's probably going to erode away and fall out on its own. But you're going to go through a couple years of pain. No, you got the needle nose pliers, you got the Leatherman tool. That thing is coming out of there, and you don't have to use a skate. And what do you use, a skate and a coconut? I can't remember. He busted it out with a pair of ice skates. So the Leatherman tool / needle nose pliers would be important to me. Also you got on there a file. Now mine's kind of broken up. This thing's been with me for over 10 years. Half the pieces are broken off, so I would obviously need to get a new Leatherman tool. But that thing's been a champion for so many years. It sticks with me. But I broke the bottle opener. I think I broke the screwdriver. But anyhow, so you got to have a Leatherman tool. That would be one of my items. Okay. Now I'll refer to the video to try to get them in order here. So after the Leatherman tool, what's my next item? My next item is meds. Now, I'm not talking Anvil or aspirin for a headache. None of that shit, right? If you're truly in a survival situation, you don't know how long it's going to last, and you're in the tropics, these are 3 things that I would take. Now, I'm not a doctor. I'm not sitting here giving medical advice. I've done previous videos about some of these topics, but I'm going to tell you, if I were Tom Hanks stranded on that tropical island, these are some items that I wish I would have in my pocket when that plane went down. Okay, so the first one, now this is a little bit different, but either mebendazole or this similar medication here, and basically this is for intestinal parasites, and this is called Combantrin. They're both similar, so either what you're seeing there on the video or mebendazole. And what would you need that for? Well, in many areas of the world, especially in hot climates, you have these intestinal parasites in the environment, whether it's roundworms, pinworms, hookworms. Put a prefix on it and put worm behind it. If you're in the tropics or areas with less than sanitary sewage conditions, you run the risk of intestinal parasites. Now, if I in a perfect world, I'd want 1 vial for every 3 months that I was going to be stranded. I realize that's probably not. You don't have big enough pockets to put that many, but at least 1 or 2 vials of mebendazole. So that, say, every 6 months or every year, even once a year, you wait a year and you take that stuff just to make sure you don't have intestinal parasites. So that's a huge thing. That would be like number 1 on my list of medications right there. Because if you develop those parasites, at some point you're a dead man. If they continue to grow, you'll be dead on that Castaway Island. Okay, moving right along. The second medication I would take would be doxycycline. Doxycycline is an antibiotic. It's for me, traveling the world and being in Southeast Asia, being in the Middle East, places like that, Central America. This is a wonder drug. Now, obviously, I'm not giving medical advice. Don't go out and take it without a prescription from your doctor. But this thing, 100 milligram tab, takes care of everything from traveler's diarrhea, Montezuma's revenge, just some type of bacterial infection caused by poor food preparation, stuff like that, all the way to the clap, sexually transmitted, hate to call them diseases, they're bacteria, but like chlamydia, gonorrhea, stuff like that. So this is a wonder drug, if I could stop there, I would probably say just if they gave me 2 items and I was Tom Hanks stranded on that island, give me mebendazole and give me doxycycline. I'll survive. I'll make it longer than any of you, I promise you. You know, if you get cut, if you have some type of bacteria in your stomach and your system, I mean, you don't have to take. Usually, what they tell you is take one tablet, 100 milligrams, one a day for 10 days. This is also an anti-malarial drug. So if you're with the U.S. military and you deploy to a place like Afghanistan, you will take one of these a day for 30 days prior to deployment. You'll take one a day during your deployment, and you'll take one a day after your deployment for 30 days. It's an anti-malarial drug. Now, obviously, you probably wouldn't have room for 500 of them in your pocket, but if I could, I would have 500 of them. But we're talking about what could Tom Hanks have in his pocket when the plane went down. Give me as many doxycycline tablets as I can put in my pocket. And then moving right along, the third thing, which is sort of like the nuclear option, I'd like to have at least 1 pack of these, and that's Zithromax. So imagine like doxycycline is like a slow roll for the cure. They would say you went to the doctor and said, hey, I slept with a less than reputable woman and I'm pissing razor blades. In other words, you got the clap. He would prescribe either one of 2 options or both. You can do both. He would say, hey, take 1 doxycycline, 100 milligrams per day for 10 days. Or he would say, take a Z-Pack. Zithromax comes in 6 tablets. They're 250 milligrams each. Some doctors will say, hey, take 4 one day, 2 the next. Some will take 3 one day, 3 the next. Some will say take all of them at once. And some would say take the Z-Pack and then follow it up with 10 days of doxies. So for me, this is like the nuclear option. So say you're and again, I'm just speaking from personal experience, okay? If you have something really bad in your system, this is like the reset button. You don't want to go to this every time. I don't think the doctors want to prescribe this every time. But say I'm marooned on that island and you just get to the point, I would almost say this: if I were sick and I took 2 or 3 doxies and they didn't work, I would stop, save my doxies, and I would hit the nuclear option. I would push the reset button. Boom. Pop those Zithromax, hit that Z-Pack. That is like zeroing out your system. The Z-Pack is the nuclear reset option. The doxies, usually, again, you take 1 or 2, maybe even 3, you're cleared up. But they'll tell you 10 days of it. So there you go. 1, 2, 3 on my meds. Give me mebendazole to get rid of the intestinal parasites, the worms. Give me doxies for like small problems, cuts, diarrhea, stuff like that. And then if I really can't control what's going on, really getting septic, getting to the point where you are low sick, boom, hit that Z-Pack. So those, I said 2, but those 3, if I could take those 3, I guarantee you I'll live. I guarantee you I'll make it longer than anybody else. That's an absolute necessity for me, right? Okay, moving right along. Get off the meds. Now I counted that as 1 item, right? I'll just say a medical kit, but you could put a lot of things in there, but that would be my absolute medical kit right there. Okay, let's move along to the next item. All right. Now again, we're talking about the movie Castaway, where there's basically no hope for this dude to be rescued. He doesn't know how long. He might live there until he dies. He don't know. So what would you want to have in your pocket? How about some seeds? They're light. You can carry a bunch of them. TSA is not going to seize them. And imagine you're on that island, right? Eating. You got all the coconuts you can eat. You probably got all the fish, all the crabs. But hey, where's the vegetables? You know what I mean? Where's the spice? So I would have a few packets of seeds, because if you're there long term, why not fire up some agriculture? Now, I don't know the soil conditions of that island that he's on. Maybe it wouldn't sustain anything too well. Maybe it was too sandy. I don't know. But just go through some seeds. You know, pick out 5 of your favorite things. I got everything in here from turnip to cucumbers to what we got? Squash, watermelons, tomatoes, and jalapeno peppers. Folks, if I could grow jalapeno peppers, just jalapeno peppers and fish, I don't need anything else. I could live off of that. Coconuts, fish, jalapeno peppers. I'll be 105 years old before I died on that island. Okay, and again, I'm not putting together a survival kit where your minivan breaks down and your spare tire's flat and you find yourself drinking your piss and you're like, why do I need some seeds? Okay, keep up here. This is about long-term survival if you're stranded somewhere by yourself with no hope of rescue. Alright, the next thing I'd probably have in my pocket, this is a little big because it's on the spool. I mean, you could take that off the spool, but some damn sturdy fishing line. You know, not no 2-pound test. I'm talking about some sturdy fishing line. You know, everybody thinks 550 cord is the holy grail, which it's great. Don't get me wrong, I'm not down on 550 cord, but I just think I could carry a lot more, and I could do a lot more with the spool of you know, heavyweight fishing line. And I guess that you can go either way on that argument. Don't get me wrong, 550 cord is great, but I just happen to have that spool, and I'm like, what would I take, the 550 cord or that spool? And so I went with that. Okay, the next item up for bid, and there might be people disagree on this one, is a thing of floss, dental floss. And I would really probably rip that thing out, field strip it, you know, take the thing out of the plastic. And if I could fit 5 or 6 or 7 of those things in there, folks, I can't operate without dental floss. I mean, I'm not like a once a week floss type of guy or a once a day. Okay, this dude right here, I eat, I floss, I brush. Anything. I eat a snack, I floss, I brush. That's just the way it is, okay? You know, I might not, my teeth may not look like Tom Cruise, but I've got very few cavities ever had in my life. I'm almost 50 years old. I got all my teeth. They're not loose. They're not about to come out. I don't got no freaking dentures. These choppers right here are going to stay with me until I hit the grave. Why? Because I floss and I brush. I take care of them. Hit the dentist every 6 months, right? Pretty simple. But if I'm on a tropical island stranded, there's no dentist. I can't make a dentist appointment. So again, I'm going back to self-dentistry. Number 1, you floss every time you eat. Number 2, you could use this floss if you know, in assisting you if you got to pull a tooth. You know, if you can't get it out with the pliers, maybe you can you know, double ply it, try to rip that tooth out. But I can't go anywhere without no dental floss. Okay, so that's one of my items. That is probably ranked. I guess I'd go with the meds 1, and then number 2, it would be a toss-up between the pliers to pull the teeth or the floss to floss the teeth. There you go. Bear Grylls ain't gonna tell you that shit. Okay, all right. The next item. Now maybe, well, maybe he could get it on that FedEx plane because he's not going through TSA. Folks, just a regular old lighter. Now, I know all the survival shows, and you know, everybody carries the ferro rods and all that stuff. Okay, I got it. It's a great piece of gear. But it doesn't come close to a lighter. Okay, that lighter is going to light a ton of fires if you set it up right. And then when it runs out of gas, that flint is still going to last and start a ton more. And this particular flashlight, or this particular lighter, has a built-in flashlight, so you can see this one simple piece of gear for me outweighs a ferro rod. Now that's just me personally. And the other reason is this. When you watch people using their knife to start this ferro rod, I'm just waiting for somebody to slice their damn finger off. Especially these folks that aren't well versed in it, you know, that you know, they're inexperienced in using it. You know, it looks like they just bought the ferro rod and just bought the knife, and they're scraping that thing off, and I'm like, there goes a fingernail, there goes a finger. I'm just waiting for them to slice their damn finger wide open, trying to get the spark out of it. Okay, well, imagine if you're maroon, you know, you don't have your normal energy level, you're tired. For me, it's just an unnecessary risk. You know, taking that sharp ass knife, you know, you slip, you cut your damn finger off. Now you just violated my first principle, right? Don't fucking get injured. Don't injure yourself. Do no harm. The lighter is so much easier, it's so much safer. Is it going to last as long? I think that's debatable, maybe not. But this will sustain you. That lighter will sustain you long enough until you get settled in and you learn how to make fire where you don't need the damn lighter. And I think one of the contestants on Alone said that once he lit a fire, he kept the fire going for 50 days, something like that, before it went out. So there you go. I would take a lighter, one lighter, over a ferro rod. That's just me. And that one just happened to have a flashlight on it. Next item will forbid a pencil and a piece of paper. You're like, wow, you'd waste one of your items? Yeah, I would. Pencil and a piece of paper. You know, as the time went by on that island, you're going to forget things. You're going to forget what day it is. You're going to not remember things as you used to, especially as you get older, right? Well, if you can keep that piece of paper dry, you can jot down notes. You can record important things. You can record, you know, the astronomy. So there's so many things you can do if you just got a pencil and a piece of paper. And then if you start going out of your mind, hell, you can start writing poems and shit. All right, there you go. So I would have that piece of paper, and then if it looks like your last days, well, you write out your damn your last days. So if somebody finds your ass, they know what happens, right? So I'd have a writing instrument and a piece of paper. Now that piece of paper also doubles as what? Well, if you can keep that thing dry in the Ziploc bag, you can use that to assist you with starting a fire if need be. Now I wouldn't use it for that, but you could if you needed to. So there you go. Pencil, piece of paper. Alright, next item I'm going to forbid is a mirror. Just a little tiny, a small mirror. Now what's that mirror good for? It's good for a lot of things. So let's get the obvious out of the way. The obvious is for signaling an aircraft, right? Aircraft flies by, ships coming by. You're going to use that signal mirror to try to get somebody's attention. Okay, that's a given. So that's important in itself. But what do you think I'm concerned about? Dentistry, self-dentistry, right? You can't work on your grill unless you got a damn mirror. So you got a mirror, you got the pliers, you can go to work. Alright, the last thing you want to do in a survival situation, especially for a long time, is to have a screwed up grill where it's causing you pain every day. And the pain can develop into an infection. It can develop into sepsis, where this infection in your tooth is spreading through your whole body. Okay, did I mention the pain? So if I got me a mirror and some pliers, I'm taking that shit out. There you go, problem solved. Okay, might save your life over a tooth. That's the way it is. And if you can't eat, how can you sustain life? How can you maintain your energy levels if every time you try to take a bite, you got 3 jacked up teeth? Get them out of there. Alright folks, we're back. Guess they got done jamming out. Getting warm out here today. So I think where I was at was talking about some reading glasses. So why would I take some reading glasses? Well, you know, at my age, I'm a pirate looking at 50, and my eyes aren't like they were when I was a young man. So, you need reading glasses to read. So what if you're out there on that island and you can't see to do small tasks, tie a fishing line, write something down, read something, all those good things. So one of my items, if I had to choose something, would be some reading glasses. Now, these right here have seen a better day. I'd probably take a brand new pair, a little bit more heft to them than these dollar store specials. But what I was going to try to see if I could start a fire using these lenses. I mean, obviously, you probably did it as a kid, started a fire with a magnifying glass or burned ants, whatever we did back in the day as kids, back in the 80s. But I think I'd probably get a fire started with these glasses. That's not the primary reason though. The primary reason is just so I can see. So I can see to tie a fishing line. I can see if I'm doing some self-dentistry, right? So, here, I got my glasses on, I got my mirror, I got my pliers, I can pull a teeth. Damn, talking about that again. Okay, moving right along, what's the next item? Alright, some fishing hooks. Fishing hooks, obviously you're going to go fishing, catch some fish. I would choose smaller fishing hooks, because when you're in a survival situation, there's no game warden checking limits, folks. It's sort of like here. You go fishing with folks here, if they catch a fish that big, it's going in the pot. Nothing gets thrown back. I'm not advocating that. That's the reason there's no fish in Subic Bay for the most part over, that long. But if you're on an island by yourself, you're not worried about that. You're worried about eating. So any size fish you can pull in is going to sustain life. So I would go with some smaller hooks. Also, those hooks, you can straighten them out, file them down, and you can make a needle for sutures. So you can use the hooks and the floss to sew yourself up if you end up getting injured somehow. Alright, so fish hooks, obviously everybody would go with that. Okay, so basically those are my 10 items. Alright, I go with 10 items. Now, am I counting the plastic bag to put it in? No. If you want to count that, I guess it'd be 11. But that plastic bag in itself, you can use that thing to catch water, store water. It can be a canteen. You can actually start a fire with that. Check out some YouTube videos. I'm not going to do that because I'm sitting in here. I was just trying to mess around with these, but I'm under the shade. You need to be in direct sunlight. So we go camping. I'll try it, demonstrate that. But the plastic bag itself is going to keep your paper dry. You can use it as a canteen. You can start a fire with it. So many uses for that. Okay, so I'm anxious to hear what you think about my thoughts on survival on a tropical island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean with nobody else but yourself. That's what I would take. It's small because if I was on that FedEx plane like old Tom Hanks, he could have that in his coat pocket, and hopefully it made it to the beach with him when he washed up on the beach. But if I had to bring a bonus item, one item, I'm talking one bonus item that would not fit in my pocket, boom, that's what I would take right there. The coconut chopper. The coconut chopper, folks, is such a versatile tool. You can do so many things with that $2 coconut chopper. Obviously it serves as a knife. It'll chop down a tree. It'll chop down bamboo. You can use it as a shovel. You can use the back of it as a hammer. That thing is a tank. It's a simple piece of equipment. I would take the coconut chopper in a survival situation over any of these types of knives, over an axe, probably over a saw. Just give me a coconut chopper, some type of machete like that, and I'd be just fine. So obviously, if you're flying on a plane, you can't take a coconut chopper. But if I just woke up on the beach on that same little island and I had every item in this bag and a coconut chopper, I'll live to be 100 years old. That'd be one problem. Can't fit 2 Filipinas in that bag. That's why I didn't put them on the list. But if I added 2 Filipinas, then I'd certainly be able to live to be 100 on that island, no problem. The only thing I'd have to put up with them bitching at me every day because there's no rice. Even if I grew all my vegetables, we had plenty of coconuts, catch fish, catch crab, seafood, maybe some shrimp. But they would bitch at me every day till the end of time, until we got rescued, because there's no rice. If a cargo ship came by 10 years later and rescued us, that's the first question they'd ask. Man, that is a delicious cigar right there. Shout out to my buddy Duke, man. I hope you're doing well. I'd probably sneak a couple cigars in that thing too. Folks, enough listening to me talk. Hope that brought up some food for thought. You know, a lot of people out there are into prepping, into survival, stuff like that. So it's good to hear everybody else's, like survival / bug out / get home plan, whatever you want to call it, ditch plan, what have you. But that's just based on real world experience living in the tropics and what I would do if I was old Tom Hanks. Shout out to Tom Hanks, man. Great movie. Might even watch that shit again tonight. Folks, if you're not a subscriber on my channel, right down there, hit that Overstay Road sign, ring that bell, get on board our train. We certainly appreciate it. Stay tuned for our videos on the upcoming camping trip. As long as the weather holds, we'll be deploying out this weekend. Thanks again, folks. We'll see you on the next one, and peace out.